Hey, everybody, and welcome to your next. I'm your host, Jerome, and believe it or not, it's another solo episode. Look, man, I had somebody reach out and said, man, what are the quantifiable deliverables, results, outcomes that come from working with you? And I was like, that's a very interesting request. I mean, people make more money, they have more time, freedom, they're more clear. I was like, man, that's surface level. Let's dig deep. And so that's what this episode is about. It's about what do you get when you work with Exit to Excellence? And I know this is the Your Next podcast, but it's sponsored by Exit to Excellence, our firm that helps founders exit with clarity and confidence. So I just want to start off with some data because I love data, right? I'm a data guy. 75% of founders regret their exit. Only 2 in 10 businesses that go to market actually sell. Think about that. These aren't just stats, they represent lives, families, and decades of work. They represent people who poured themselves into something they built only to walk away with wealth, but for many of them, without fulfillment. Why does this happen? Because exiting a business just isn't just a financial transaction, it's both internal and external. Externally, it feels like stepping through a portal. One moment, everything is familiar, the next, you're in a completely new territory. It can feel like surviving a shipwreck. The vessel that carried you is gone, and you're floating in open water. Freedom stretches in every direction, but that very freedom can feel like a prison. This is what I call the founder's exit paradox. On the outside, you're free. On the inside, you're disoriented, you're uncertain, and vulnerable. Behind the paradox are 6 centers of doubt: self image, relationship, work, health, prosperity, and significance. If they aren't addressed, they quietly erode fulfillment and turn freedom into regret. Let me give you an example. My man James built a thriving company over 25 years. Remember, most people are 15 to 50 years in their enterprise. This guy negotiated a strong deal. The transaction closed and everyone around him celebrated. But the day after, he woke up to an empty calendar. No meetings, no calls, no fires to put out. At first, it felt like freedom. There was relief, but soon that freedom grew heavy. He started questioning who he was without the business. He didn't do the work beforehand. His family noticed the tension. His health started to slip. James had money, but he no longer had meaning. That's the paradox in action, y'all. Now, James isn't alone. Consider Sarah, who led a family's manufacturing business and into a successful sell. On paper, she did everything right, but behind closed doors, their family struggled. Disagreements about money pulled them apart. Yeah, more money doesn't make money. Disagreements go away. Her children didn't know how to respond to her sudden presence at home because she was working 50, 60 hours a week. And Sarah herself felt unmoored. No longer the leader, no longer the one holding it all together. Prosperity was secured, but unity and purpose were slipping away. Or what about my man David? He was a tech founder who built a SaaS company from scratch. His exit made headlines. His valuations were strong, and overnight the bank account swelled. But instead of freedom, he found himself locked into an earnout under someone else's rule. He went from being a visionary to being second guess. His health crumbled, weight gain, sleepless nights, and constant stress ruled the roost. And when the earnout ended, instead of relief, he felt emptiness. He had to find himself by hustle. And without it, he didn't know who he was. And then there's Maria. She built a boutique consulting firm, sold it to a buyer she trusted, and made sure her employees were cared for. But the silence afterwards was deafening. Dry inbox, no text messages. The clients no longer needed her. For years, she was the expert, the go to, but suddenly she was invisible. She dreamed of using her freedom to mentor others, but without clarity, she stalled. The significance she longed for seemed out of reach. See, James, Sarah, David, and Maria, different industries, different exits, but the same pattern. Feeling like financial success is the end all be all. only to realize that that's often followed by disorientation. Because let's be clear, most advisors focus only on the numbers, valuation, deal structure, net proceeds. And while those things are important, they don't solve the whole problem. Money can close a transaction, but it cannot provide identity, purpose, or fulfillment. That's why so many founders regret their exit. That's exactly why we built Exit to Excellence. Our process doesn't just address the financials, it delivers quantifiable improvements across the six centers of doubt. Again, those six centers of doubt: self image, relationship, work, health, prosperity, and significance. Here's how it works: every engagement begins with immersion in our thought leadership. We've published more on the founder's exit experience than anyone else. Our books, blogs, podcasts, and workshops expand your perspective and reveal a critical truth. Money alone will not carry you into the next chapter where you're seeking fulfillment. Then people do the exit readiness assessment. This diagnostic measures your preparedness across seven dimensions. It shows where you're strong, where you're vulnerable, and it turns uncertainty into specific, trackable insights. From there, the NEO assessment uncovers your post exit personality archetype. It highlights your transferable skills and your blind spots. With this clarity, you know not only who you have been, but who you are becoming and how you're going to handle the six centers of doubt. And then there's the next intensive, two deep sessions where you confront the six centers of doubt, surface your true priorities, and identify the roadblocks that could trap you. The deliverable is the freedom compass. It's more than a report. It becomes your navigation system, aligning you, the inner world of your identity and purpose, to the outer world of wealth, family, and legacy. And the outcomes are measurable. Exit readiness scores rise by 30 to 50% within 90 days. Decision cycles shrink from months to weeks. 80% of founders report reductions in stress and fear of irrelevance within the first year. 9 out of 10 families report stronger alignment on financial and lifestyle decisions. Partner conflicts decrease, teams stay intact, customer experience less disruption. Founders reclaim 20 to 40 hours of discretionary time every week. Within 90 days, 4 out of 5 clients report measurable improvements in energy, focus, and overall well being. Preparation improves valuation, multiples, and terms. Clients avoid the 20 to 30% erosion that often occurs through taxes and poor reinvestment when they work with Exit to Excellence. And significance growth: 70% of clients establish their philanthropic commitments before they exit, and the families design wealth transfer structures that protect both capital and values. Look, that's what it means to exit to excellence. It means that you don't cling to the wreckage of your old identity. You step through the portal into freedom, carrying your freedom compass, clear, confident, and aligned. Each step in your new chapter is intentional, purposeful, and worthy. Worthy of the life you've worked so hard to build. That is the quantifiable value of working with Exit to Excellence. I hope some of that resonated with you, and I look forward to catching you on the next episode. Your dreams should be real.